You guys, in the last couple of weeks especially, been aggressive in these late fourth downs.
Yeah.
If the players always want to go for it, what about you? Are you, I mean, obviously it's worked out, but I mean, are you always wanting to go for fourth downs?
Yeah, I mean, I remember in New Orleans, if Sean ever asked, 9 times out of 10, I'd say go for it. It's a lot easier when you're not calling the play. But, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really, when he says, hey, we're going for it, I don't really judge the decision. I just call the play and, in the heat of the moment. Thought it was, in retrospect, pretty gutsy, a couple of them. But, yeah, they've worked out. And I think, as good as our quarterback is playing and our receivers are playing, I think if I'm on defense, I don't want to see us go for it. I'd rather see us punt. And so I think that's a good way to think about it. So, yeah, I think they've been good decisions. It's easy to judge it after you've been successful, but, I don't think we'll always be successful on every fourth down, right? That's probably unrealistic, but I think you stick with the process and know that in the long run it's going to help you win games.
How much do you think is Justin? Just the fact that trust that Staley has in his quarterback?
Yeah, I think that's huge. Knowing that more often than not he's going to make a play, and your receivers are going to make a play, and your O-line's going to protect, and obviously the better you feel about those guys, the more aggressive you'll be.
Talked last week just about felt like the running game was close, felt like the run blocking was close. How encouraging was to see what the offensive line did, particularly the left side with Rashawn, Matt, and Corey.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it's I think passing yards can be sexy, but man, it's fun when you're running the football well. I think that's often more gratifying, and so it was really nice to see that.
Do you think Monday was a little bit about you take away our receivers, we'll beat you other ways, tight ends, running the football, you guys being able to change it up, even if Keenan and Mike are kind of getting more of the attention?
Yeah, I think it's a nice luxury to have, to know that if you've got 5 guys out in the route, they're all 5 guys that can win and get open and do well when their number's called. And I think we usually have that situation with the talent that we have here. So, a lot of times the defense does kind of dictate where the football should go. And it's good to know that you've got receivers and running backs and tight ends that are going to make a play when their number's called.
Joe, Austin had a good game, but how do you think the guys behind him, like Roundtree, Justin Jackson, are playing so far?
Yeah, I think good. I mean, there's always a couple things, especially with a rookie that you'd like to see improvement on, but I think it's expected that a rookie is sometimes not going to quite be as detailed maybe as a veteran. But man, he's had some good runs, and Justin same way. So been pleased with those guys.
Also had a tight end Steve Anderson help out in the fullback.
Yeah.
Get the nice catch out of the backfield. How do you think he's been doing at fullback?
Great. I mean, he's one of those. It's always good in the tight end room when you have a kind of a Swiss Army knife of sorts, a guy that can play all these different roles, and you can put in those figure it out situations, if that makes sense. Guys that have good gap instincts as far as where to fit through the offensive line, and the tight end position is probably certainly in our offense anyways, is probably the most difficult to learn. And he's one of those guys that, when there's a tough job to do, you can give it to him, know that he's going to figure out the right way to do it.
Last weekend, or Monday, was John Aiken and Max Crosby. This weekend, Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney. Just what have you seen from them on film? And it seems like Garrett is on a tear right now.
Yeah, he's I don't know if there's a better defensive end pass rusher in the NFL. I mean, he is impressive, and it's going to be a challenge, and he's going to win some battles, and that's just something that you have to know going into it, and certainly be smart about the plays you're calling, knowing that he's a guy that can ruin your day by himself very quickly. So I think it's he's obviously the guy, and Clowney too, and Tack is playing really well. I've got some experience playing against him in Atlanta, and man, he's really popping off the film as you watch the Browns. And so it's seems like every week we're in a situation. Every team's got good rushers, but these guys are really top class.
Just in terms of Justin's performance against the Raiders, Justin Herbert, he's getting the ball out really quickly. He had one of the lowest time to throws in the league in week 4, under a lot of pressure, didn't turn the ball over. Obviously, the passing yards, yards per attempt were one of his best.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like it was a pretty impressive performance from him, considering the circumstances and how he sort of operated back there?
For sure. I mean, that's one thing, again, I think we talked about it last week, that probably the most impressive thing about him is how quickly he processes the information of what's happening and how quickly he gets rid of the ball, whether it's, man, this is the guy that's open, or I'm under pressure, I need to get rid of it before I'm really ready. I know exactly where to go with the ball. I mean, it really is he seems like a 10-year veteran when you get to that aspect of the game, just his ability to figure out where the ball should go, make those decisions, and understand when, hey, that I don't have as much time as we were hoping here, so I need to get rid of the ball to my check down right now, or else this thing's going to go south. And we had a couple, breakdowns in protection that were really silly. We dropped the 3 technique once and dropped the defensive end once that we shouldn't have. And, he took a sack once but protected the football, and the other time he got rid of the ball for a positive gain. And, that's not easy to do, what he did in those situations. So his ball security and clock in his head, all those things were just outstanding.
Just talking to him on the play when Ngakoue got free off the left edge, did he feel that coming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's done it a number of times. I mean, it's not the first time he's done it, and he's just got that instinct, that feel, that awareness that I'm not sure you can really teach, and it's nice. It's a good security blanket as a play caller. Know that, man, he's going to not let a lot of bad things happen if something breaks down in front of him. He knows what to do, so it's outstanding.
You mentioned his processing speed on the field, but during that time before the ball snapped, when you guys get a chance to relay the calls, what is that process like? Being in the headset with him.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty basic. I give him the personnel, he relays it to everybody. I give him a little second to do that, and then call the play, try to keep an eye on him, see if he, heard it correctly. So if, I might see him do this, and I'll give him the play again, and I don't really bother him a whole lot more than that. So, yeah, it's pretty straightforward process.
How long did it take to where it was that smooth where you didn't have to retweet?
Early on in the process, going back to the spring, I was standing next to him and just reading the plays to him, and it was brand new at that point. So oftentimes you'd need to repeat it, and he'd have to go through it in his head. But really since training camp and getting into it, it's been very smooth.
Just curious, did you do work on Justin when he was coming out of Oregon?
Yeah.
Did you study him?
Yep.
Where did you think his decision making was, his processing was at that point? Did you think that was a strength of his at that point?
Yeah, I think a lot of that maybe didn't express itself a whole lot at Oregon. But yeah, I didn't see any red flags from that perspective. But a lot of times when you're watching film, you're not exactly sure what he's being told, what his. Yeah, I didn't see any red flags or anything that made me think that it was. I can't say I had a strong opinion that it was awesome or that it was poor. It just seemed like he was competent, knew what he was doing.
Has that surprised you at all? Like how
Yeah.
fast he's.
I think it has because of how young he is, and I think a lot of it is just innate, natural. I mean, I remember when we played him when we played the Chargers in the Superdome last year. I'd gotten to know Shane a little bit because we'd come out here and practice, and you could tell there that he was playing real well. And I said, "How quickly did you know that he was?" He's like, "Right away," because you could just tell he had an instinct for who was open and where to go with the ball. So, yeah, I think I don't know how to explain it. It's pretty rare for someone as young as he is, but it's really good.
You faced Denzel Ward as a rookie when you were with New Orleans. Just how much improvement have you seen from him, and now with them having Newsome in the secondary?
Yeah, well, I know Ward's a really good player. I mean, he had a terrific game last week against the Vikings, and they kind of put him into the boundary, which is a corner that often gets a little more action, so you can tell what they think about him. But he's a really good cover corner, and so we'll have our work cut out there.
Joe, with getting the players set and the motions this week, I think Justin did the opposite with that. With the motion, the game players
Good.
set.
Yeah. I think we had a couple twitches from the O-line, or at least one, but yeah, that other stuff was solid. So hopefully we keep having that squared away.